Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton, where we are playing This is turn 32. Let's jump into things. Okay, so we actually have a little bit of stuff going on here. More so, there's a lot of stuff that we got to witness, so let's go ahead and check some things out. We've completed Construction 3. This is on our way to Construction 4, which is a big deal. Construction 3, actually, though, is a nice thing for us because primarily it grabs us Legions of Steel, which we can cast in conjunction with our Strength of Giants. And it's just a nice buff to have across the board. It's not a game changer, necessarily, but it's nice. Okay. Let's see what else we've got going on, shall we? We've got the Voice of Apsu that found nothing, and then we've got a bunch of battles. So let's go ahead and watch some. This battle is in the Wood of Many Paths, where we are taking this forest back away from the Sea Dogs. This isn't going to be much of anything. Our forces rush forward. The Sea Dogs are not a match for anything. Honestly, they wouldn't have been a match for, closer to 20 PD, but this province perpetually just keeps getting hit over and over again, so it can never quite reach that closer to 20 PD mark. Is what it is. Alright, we've got a couple of other things. We'll save the battle in Ial for last, because that's an interesting one for us. Let's go ahead and watch this. This is a quick battle that we can see between Mictlan and some Indies. Specifically, it's that big barbarian province on the border between him and Pan. So this is actually a mercenary group. Led by this guy, the Animist, Baratus the Animist. It's the Boar Horde, or the Boar... I don't know, whatever. But they're going to get chopped to shit by these barbarians. Fortunately, they do just enough work, just barely, to rout those barbarians. If the barbarians had held for another 2 turns, they would have won, because they would have cut the slaves to shit. Unfortunately, this battle didn't really give us any information. We didn't get to see his... We'll watch again real quick. We didn't get to see his bless or anything come out, right? Like, no one... Flying on my face. Nobody cast anything. Like, he's even got a tribal king. Oh, he's sacred, but he doesn't... Yeah. He doesn't have anyone to cast anything. He's just got leaders. And, Baratus the Animist doesn't have anything. Doesn't have any... priest levels is what I was trying to say. Jesus, my brain. It's very early in the morning. So, we get to see Mictlan do some stuff, but unfortunately we don't really get to learn any information about him. We've got Pan versus Sarmatia. And this is just part of Pan's efforts to clean up the area, the Sarmatian lands. So, we do get information here. He cast Wooden Warriors. Okay, cool, interesting. This is big news. Okay, is because now we know he has Wooden Warriors, and that's something we could already kind of surmise, anyways, because it makes sense for him to have gone that route. But this is confirmation, so that's good. And it's also confirmation that he's, rolling around with Hierophants, which are Nature 1 mages, giving them gems to cast things like Wooden Warriors. Okay, we've got 2 battles left. We've got our battle in Ial, and we've got Lanka versus Femoria in the Cloudbreakers. So let's watch this. This is pretty cool. So this is the big force, invasion force from Lanka. Holy shit. That is a lot of Palankashas. That is a whole shit ton of Palankashas. And a little bit of other things, but mostly Palankashas. And this is just province defense, just some barbarians. So, let's watch. It goes down. So we've got mass blessings, right? There's no divine blesser on Lanka's side, so he's got multiple blessers just chunking through the line. And then the Palankashas just go to town. Let's check the bless out. This is a pretty intense bless. And so we're noticing this, right? Like, Hylosa has a pretty intense bless. Pan has a pretty intense bless. Wonka has a pretty intense bless. What does it say? Femoria had a pretty intense bless. Right? This we might actually have the lowest commitment bless in this game. Although I say that, like, well, no, yeah, I think we might. So we've got Air Shield 40, Shock Resistance 10, Fire Resistance 10, Defense Skill 2, Reinvigoration 1, Regeneration, which kind of like ups the ante there a whole bunch, Strength 2, and Blood Surge 3. So this is a big bless. Oh, holy crap. This is quite a big bless. So Palankashas in and of themselves are high hit points, relatively high stat sacreds, and their downside is threefold, basically. Well, 3 to 4-fold. It's depending on how you look at it. They're size 3, so you can only fit 2 per square. That's an right? Better than size 4, but still an Protection is relatively low. They only have a single attack, so their attack density is pretty low. And then the fourth, I guess there are other weaknesses, right? But the fourth is that, they're demons, right? They also don't have helmets, so that's an issue. But demons there's a bunch of different things that you can use specifically against demons. So that is sometimes viewed as a weakness, sometimes viewed as a strength, depending on the situation. But Palankashas are in this kind of weird middle realm. They're strong sacreds, but they're not the strongest sacreds. They hit really hard, they have good battle stats, but they're not crazy killy. They hit really hard, but they don't have multiple attacks, right? Which means that they tend to not kill, and their attack density is low, so they tend not to kill things. Like, they're definitely no White Centaur, that type of situation, right? So, what it looks like Blanca has done is gone for mostly a defensive bless, which means that these guys, which he can mass produce, are going to hang out far longer. They're going to be way harder to kill, which means their single attacks, they're going to get more of those over the course of a battle, and it's just going to be, those things hit. Chop. Fucking chop. And when you start getting Blood Surge to proc, holy fuck, it's going to chop, chop, chop. So, let's watch this. Okay, so we've hit. We can already see red numbers coming up, but this front line is going to go whop. Two turns and massacred. Because basically every hit, unless they're fighting giants or semi-giants like me, right? Every hit is going to be a kill. And they have good attack skills, so they're going to hit frequently. Right? These are scurry, scurry, scurry. Very cool. Okay, let's watch our battle in Ial. This is actually probably the lamest of the battles. So, we've got our block of infantry, we've got some militia in the back, we've got a couple mushushus. And it looks like they just tossed some demons at us. We've got a bunch of Ko-Onis and Owl-Onis in the center. We've got an Onishugo. We've got a couple of priests, demon priests. And we do have a single Dai Oni with a dragon helmet. Let's go ahead and watch things. Now, our quickness, unfortunately... Quickness. They quicken themselves. Oh no, they actually do hit one of the Mushushus. Okay, so they quicken themselves, one of them quickens themselves, and then one of the others quickens a Mushushu. So that goes up, and then we get another quickness. Where'd that go off? We got one more. Okay, so 3 of the 4 Mushushus get quickness. Okay? Which is kind of interesting. Wait, yeah. Bonus to their attack and defense skills. So +2 off of their quickness, +2 off of their quickness. So pretty scary. So we can see how these Mushushus outpace this one basically instantaneously. They have 36 combat speed, which I will point out is only 1 combat speed less than the White Centaurs do with their just combat speed boost bless. So, that's to say, if the White Centaurs were quickened, it would be insanity. So, oh, we didn't actually watch that. Let's pop back. We see what happens with the Mushushus. Let's watch the core of the army now. So we've got our Summon Earth Power, our Divine Blessing goes off, and then boom! Strength of Giants hits pretty much everyone. We got 2 casts, so Strength of Giants, and then we get another 2 casts, Strength of Giants, Now that we have Legions of Steel, we can replace that with 1 person doing Strength of Giants and 1 person doing Legions of Steel to try to coat as much of our infantry in Strength of Giants and Legions of Steel as we can. So that'll be cool. Alright, so let's watch this. The lightning bolts and smite demons come down, start to do some good work. You can already see, like, almost instantaneously, there are half a dozen or more demons that have been popped into their ethereal form, and they rout almost instantaneously. Now, there is this Dione still, and he a danger boy, because he comes in, and when he hits, 25 damage. Oof. Oof. Hits again, 21 damage. Oof. My god. Right? But he is bleeding profusely now. Got some scary shit going on. They're still holding a little bit here. And he's going to break momentarily. But he starts to run. But we've already got Mushushus back here, right? And this gets real dangerous. It's super dangerous. So he gets pinned. But he's not going down without a fight. He swings immediately. 26. Okay? So we keep focusing on the fucking demons. Hit him for 1. 32. We are down to 17 hit points. Doing a bunch of chip damage. He's got such high protection because I think he did Iron Skin on top of his dragon helmet, so he's super tanky. We are about to heal. We're at 24 hit points. 23 damage. 1 fucking hit point. 1 hit point. Boom, we pop him, and immediately, before anything else can really happen, oh no, he actually swings again. He swings again, I forgot about that. We only had 8 hit points. He swung again and missed. And he dies before he can swing a final time. Holy shit. We almost lost that Mushushu. Very close. Very close. But we win. So that was, this is a fine fight. We killed a bunch of Ko-Onis, killed a bunch of Ao-Onis. The Ko-Onis are kind of whatever. I mean, all of this is free spawn, right? But the Ko-Onis, don't really care about losing them nearly as much as you do about the Ao-Onis. Ao-Onis are actually good units, right? They hit really hard. You don't want to lose these. But losing a Dione, that is 490 gold and 2 turns of cap-only recruitment. That's some big shit. And we lost 12 militia. Don't care about the militia at all. We did lose 12 guards, which would be tough to deal with if it weren't for the fact that I'm about to add into this army with a whole nother reinforcing army, right? So very good victory for us. If we had lost a Mushushu, that would have kind of brought it back in range of, sadness. Especially on a gold equivalence level. But so far, so good. We did also get the dragon helmet, so that's nice. Got a couple of events. We've got fallen leaves and magic gems have been found in a badger's den. This is a fucking loaded ass badger if he's got 11 earth gems. Holy shit. And then woods of the fairy court have been burned by a local lord. This is an unfortunate event. We've got drain 2, death 1, misfortune 3, but we did get 3 air gems. We had a scout discovered in Kailasan lands, and then we did some patrolling. So this turn, we've got a couple of things going on, but mostly it's a simple turn. A big deal that we are doing is moving into Dekal 150, right? We are combining the forces from Eol and from Neotha there. So we're going to have this big group. Now, I will say this is something that, this is my own fault, and it's kind of whatever, but we're probably going to cause some diseases, right? Because I did not bring any galas, and galas have supply bonuses, right? So I brought basically nothing with supply bonus. Well, my NCs have supply bonus, but that's only so much. So we've got 171 supplies here and 87 supplies used here. So when we combine, we're going to be close to around 250. Now, in a decent province like Neotha, that's going to be okay. But some of these provinces are not going to be decent. It's guaranteed. Especially like if we go to Trackless Waste and try to get that, it's not gonna be decent. So we're gonna take some diseases. That's gonna be something that's annoying, but it's okay. So we're combining the armies. Nothing is really. We are changing formation slightly. We're putting all of our Mushushus up top, and we are gonna put all of our Ishibs up top. So that is going to afford us the chance to get 8 quicknesses off in that area. Kind of whatever. Nice. We are altering our setup to where we're doing Strength of Giants on one person, Legions of Steel on another, but everything else is pretty much the same. Easy peasy? Easy. We've got the Clockwork Horrors holding down our southern flank. Should be good. So that I'm not really worried about. Lanka's over here. Probably gonna speak to Lanka about kind of what the general game plan is. Like I said, I don't want to stick it out in here for very long, so I would rather just come in here and kind of like grab this land, maybe Wick, right? And just do, and then be done with the war, right? See how it goes? In the meantime, I am sending NC2 back to Earth. I was considering heading down to Forest of Springs, and I might still end up going that route, but for now, we're going to go back, and this force is not a very big force. We're going to go back and resupply it here in with what we have over the next couple turns, so that it's more of a military force. Especially probably going to send in some Gudus with it, just to kind of patrol around, have it be capable of holding. We are building a temple in Sinkhole Swamp so that after we finish with this Bone Reader, we can immediately start recruiting some shamans. Should be good. The Bone Reader is going to head over to and I didn't point this out last turn, but in Mag we have a Garden of the Damned, which is 2 death per turn, and we have a Bone Door Tower, which is 1 death per turn. So we're now at 4 death gems per turn, which is great because that means we can sit this little buddy, this Bone Raider here in and we can Dark Knowledge every single turn from now on, which we're gonna do. So the goal there being is 13 death gems means nothing. What it does mean something is 4 death gems per turn. If we can grow that, because that means we can Dark Knowledge every single turn without running out of death gems. If we find death sites, we grow. We begin to accrue that resource, and if we get enough of them, if we get up to 10 death gems per turn, then we can actually do something with that. We can look into getting some breaking into the path a little bit more, right? Our single death 1 boy, which he could come out as a death 2, right? We could try to get more and more of these and try to fish for a Death 2. Death 2, getting a booster plus a plus being empowered, right, can get him up to a Death 4. We'd have to empower him twice, realistically, to get to Death 5, to get a skull helmet or a skull cap. Then he'd be Death 6. That's kind of a lot of empowerments, plus booster. So that's probably not a route that we're going to go, but it is possible, right? And it all depends on what our luck is with the Dark Knowledges. If we get really, really lucky with Dark Knowledges and we run into a couple of provinces that are like this, that are 3 death gems per turn, then very quickly that can turn into a oh my god scenario. Just like if you run into situations where you don't get any air gems, you can be like, okay, well, I was gonna go Ugalus, but I guess I'm not going Ugalus, right? So, you might also notice that we have very few nature gems. That's because we are going to try to steal Mother Oak. Why are we trying to steal Mother Oak? Because Kailasa's AI, and Pan's using a lot of nature gems, and I'm not. So, I'm not going to talk about how many nature gems I put in exactly, but a smart person can figure it out by watching the previous videos, etc. But this should, I'm not really worried about not being able to steal this. This should definitely steal. It's just a matter of do we hold on to it for long enough? Now, it's a huge investment, the amount that I spent. And I know a lot of people will give me the, oh, that's not worth it, right? You're spending way too much, and it's going to take way too many turns to get the payout. But that's, for me, and this is, like, I'm not saying that my way is right? Absolutely not. I make wrong decisions all the time. But the way I look at things is almost always that your income is more important than your bank. Banking is very important for certain things, like you want to hit certain goals, like putting up a global, or being able to afford an incredibly expensive, like your first wish cast, or something like that, right? Or like trying to summon an elemental royalty. Those need a bank. You need a little bit of a bank for that. But income is your ability to consistently utilize and produce without having to worry about how many you already have right now. And for me, I almost always end up valuing income over bank. And that's probably, like I said, I've seen math behind certain statistics, like with site search and things like that. I understand that I am not right every time I make that call. But I'm right some of the times I make that call. And it just feels better to me. So we're going to try to steal Mother Oak. We're going to see how that goes. It might just be painting a target on me for Pan. But like I said, I feel like it's kind of at that point in the game with, we're going to have to fight Pan eventually, you know? So we're going to have to see how it goes. And I feel like we're approaching that point where at least if we have assistance, right, it might be doable. He'll run over me, right? But maybe I can hold him for long enough to let someone else do something. And so Mother Oak and the income that we're going to get from that is going to let us do certain things. Specifically, it's going to let us produce gear, which is part of the reason why we're going up Construction 4. It's going to let us produce some pretty important gear for the right people. And it's going to let us hopefully make use of a wide array of battle spells, right? Like, if I've got 20 plus income for nature gems per turn, I don't care about throwing nature gems on galas to cast things like wooden warriors, right? That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about like making some thistle maces, right? And throwing and losing thistle maces, right? Like that's the other, like, when you have a high enough income, you don't care about losses as much because the income comes back and you replace them more. Like if you're just relying on bank, then everything is far more precious. Okay, so that's basically the situation. Not really got a lot going on elsewise. We are researching. We're going to be done with construction 4 this turn, which is good because that's going to get us earth boots. It's going to open up thistle maces, right? It's going to allow us to do quite a few things there. Then we're going to run up evocation 3, and this is basically for the exact same reason that we are working on that death mage and the shamans, because so we won't get it this turn, but we'll get it next turn, and the turn after that we'll have a shaman, and that shaman will be able to walk into our capital and sit there and arcane probing for the rest of, well, actually not for the rest of eternity, because we actually don't really have any gems. Think about it. So the shaman's gonna have to start the hard way, is the old-fashioned way, these just going around site searching, because my god with Astral 4 has not found a single site yet that is astral. This is kind of bonkers. Like, I have 0 astral income and turn 32. That is pretty intense. So we're gonna try to get up to that point, and then when we have a little bit of an income, then we'll start astral probing. See what we can find. And then after that, we might be running up thaumaturgy. This is just kind of like me thinking, this is a couple turns away. We might run up thaumaturgy a little bit. We might flip and start rushing up alteration entirely for something like mass protection, right? Or to just get closer to things like Army of Gold, Army of Lead. But that is a little bit of a ways away. Mass protection is pretty doable for us, but it would take a little bit. Okay, I think that's going to be it for the turn. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.